Good morning, everybody, and a happy Monday morning to you. A big thank you to Kai Lear on Twitter for the picture you're looking at above. You guys, we have a lot to cover. Now, this may not cover everything you're hoping to hear, but there's just so much. Let's just jump in with what we've got, and then we'll do a catch-up this week, I promise. So let's go. We're going to start off with Princess Anne. She attended the Honorable Company of Masters Mariners Centenary Banquet at the Guildhall this past Thursday in her role as past master. She was there with her fabulous husband, Sir Tim, Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, and her brother, the Duke of Edinburgh. And for this occasion, Anne chose this gorgeous flowing pale yellow gown decorated with some pink floral print, and people realized she'd worn this gown before in Nigeria in 1983. I mean, it's amazing. The dress is 42 years old. And it looks gorgeous on her now, just as much as it did then. And don't forget the yellow hat that she wore to the christening of one of her children. She wore it to Peter Philip's wedding. She definitely is the queen of recycling. Some fabulous video of Edward arriving. And for those who don't know, the Honorable Company of Master Mariners is a very prestigious City of London livery company that was founded in 1926. It represents professional mariners from the Merchant and Royal Navies, and it is a advisory board for the British maritime sector. And the leader is officially known as the Master. That's the senior officer of the company. They're responsible for chairing meetings of the court, representing the company within the livery, and acting as its ambassador to the Corporation of London. The company itself operates from HQS Wellington, which is a historic ship permanently moored in the River Thames in London. I love this. All right, let's continue. All right, now moving on, but still sticking with Princess Anne. I showed you these pictures the other day, but more pictures came out, and I have to show them to you. Again, Princess Anne went to the Tag Rugby Festival for children and young people with mild to severe learning disabilities. She is patron of the Wooden Spoon, and she joined more than 400 young people at Broad Street Rugby Club for the day-long tournament. She watched matches, she met players, coaches, and volunteers. Looking fabulous. Next up, still with the Duke of Edinburgh, he did a speech where he invited everybody to take part in the World Cleanup Day on September 20th, 2026. It was really actually a nice speech. Let you listen to it. Here we go.
6 marks 70 years of the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award. And in that time, some 15 million award journeys have been started across more than 130 countries. So we thought that to mark this rather important anniversary, we ought to do something that reflects the spirit and also that international reach. So we've picked Sunday, the 20th of September, World Cleanup Day. And this is an invitation to the whole award family, past, present and future, to pick a project and make a difference in your community. And all I'm asking you to do is to click on the link and spread the word. The more people that we manage to get involved in this, the bigger the impact, and perhaps we'll have a cleaner world at the end of it. And who knows, perhaps more people will know about the award.
All right, this is one of our bigger stories for today that actually involves a little bit of a scandal with the royals. They're saying that King Charles will not live at Buckingham Palace after the 10-year refurbishment finishes next year. And that ends 2 centuries of the landmark serving as the British monarch's primary residence. Now, officials at the same time disclosed how much money the king paid in taxes. We're going to be covering that in just a few minutes. And it's the first time the figure has been made public, placing him among Britain's top 100 taxpayers. And this is all happening because the royal family has promised greater transparency about their finances amid all this growing scrutiny and criticism since Queen Elizabeth passed away. He's decided to remain at Clarence House, which is his long-standing London home. It's very close by. And so everybody's like, well, why did we do the refurbishment? Well, it had aging electrical wires, aging pipes, outdated heating systems, Works did start back in 2017, and officials expected the palace to remain the King's primary London residence because it has been since Queen Victoria became sovereign in 1837. Well, people are really getting upset with this. They're saying it kills the magic of the royal family. Why did we pay to have this done? What's going on? I mean, it's getting really ugly out there. So, of course, one of the news people did a little bit of a broadcast where he kind of threw the tax thing out there along with the house thing. So I want you to hear what he said about the actual refurbishment. That's the part that I think is most important. So I want you to listen to this. Listen closely.
So he's the first monarch ever to do this, then, isn't he? What's your take on what we've seen in the data here?
Well, Patrick, for GB News audiences, I spent 5 hours in financial briefings with all of these documents, so you don't have to go through them all, and we've assimilated them with my producer, Tom, this afternoon and evening for you. As you said, Patrick, at the start of your piece there, I think a lot of our audience are probably going to be wondering why £370 million, roughly, of their money is being spent on resurfacing a building, Buckingham Palace, which no monarch is unlikely to ever live in ever again. And if we can just take you to, there you are, 370 million for Buckingham Palace. Should we just take you to the next slide, where we can see a diagram of how the royal family is funded? The money that the king surrenders the profits of from the Crown Estates to the Treasury in exchange for a percentage to fund the official duties, that percentage for almost a decade has been much higher in order to refurbish Buckingham Palace. And we were told right at the beginning they needed this more money, and they insisted that the reason for that is that the king will move back in when the resurfacing is complete. But now, of course, King Charles and Queen Camilla, we know, are going to be staying at Clarence House when they're in London. They're not going to be moving back in. Prince William calls Forest Lodge, the 8-bedroomed mansion in Windsor, his forever home. So it's very unlikely when he is king that he's going to move his family in there either. But look, Buckingham Palace is an incredibly old building, an incredibly famous building as well. And people come from all over the world to see it. So even if someone wasn't living there, palace sources basically say, look, if we didn't do something, there would have been, and I quote, a catastrophic fire or flood risk for Buckingham Palace because all of the piping and all of the electrical works hadn't been updated since the end of the Second World War. So, 70, 80 odd years. So that is why the resurfacing work was being done. Royal aides also insist that the king, he's still going to use the building. It's still going to be his office. He's still going to host investitures and state banquets and garden parties and engagements and all the rest of it. He's still going to have a suite of rooms where he can take a break between engagements, get change. He'll have an office there as well. But he just won't lay his head down there. The last monarch to do that was Queen Elizabeth II. She left in March 2020 to go and isolate during the coronavirus pandemic. Now, GB News a spokesperson for the king has told GB News that the palace will continue in every traditional way to be the beating heart of the monarchy, just not resting its head. It's a buzzing hive of royal activity in every other way. His Majesty retains huge affection for Buckingham Palace and a deep respect for its role in royal and public life. It will remain a working home, but we are seeking to widen public access precisely to maximise the national benefit of a publicly funded building. And I also understand that the king wants the palace to be for the wider public good rather than his greater private benefit. What I mean by they mean, I think, by the wider access is they are expected to open up more of Buckingham Palace for public tours, particularly the North Wing, where the late Queen used to live. Well, let's see if the public are going to get aboard of that. Meanwhile, of course, more taxes, of course. The king has announced his tax return, 30 million plus in taxes since the king ascended to the throne. 20 million Prince William has paid in the last 2 years. And just to top it all off, Patrick, the royal transport costs, just over £3 million was spent in the last financial year by all working members of the royal family on helicopters, private jets, cars, and the royal train.
So here's what it comes down to. He's basically going to open up more of the palace for tours to bring more money in to the public so that they have to pay less taxes. Now, Buckingham Palace, the staterooms are generally open to the public during the summer months and selected dates, but of course they're going to be opening more rooms. Windsor Castle is open year-round to visitors. Balmoral has public access to the grounds and interior, and that's been expanded significantly. The Palace of Holyrood House in Edinburgh, this palace and grounds are open year-round. You have Hillsborough Castle, which is open to the public with tickets available via the Historic Royal Palace website. So, I mean, all he's doing is putting this out so that more people can benefit from the public building and bring in more money for the taxpayer, not to him, for the taxpayer. So I totally see this is a historic building, and whether you had a sovereign laying their head there or not, it needed to be refurbished. So everybody's taking this as a chance to slap the royal family around, when actually what they should be doing is thanking the royal family for bringing more money in. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I don't get it. And they're like, oh, these troubling times, and they're saying this and they're saying that. Who cares? And let me tell you something. There's nothing that says that William and Catherine won't move in once the children are grown and out of the house. They very well may move in. They're saying that no monarch, maybe George will move in, you know? And now you have the tax bill showing that the king paid over 30 million in taxes and William's paid over 20 million in taxes. Keep in mind that the king's been paying taxes since the 1990s, which he legally doesn't have to do. And it's the same with William. But what we did find out, interestingly enough, is that William is actually more wealthy than Charles, and he's now a billionaire. Yeah, Meghan Markle definitely married the wrong brother. For those of you who don't understand, you have the sovereign grant. That's money. It's based on a percentage of profits from the Crown estate, which is the property portfolio, and their revenue, the monarch surrenders to state coffers in exchange for an annual payment. And that's how the staff is paid, travel is paid, royal palaces are taken care of. But for the very first time in 2027, 2028, in line with the king's wishes, the sovereign grant is being cut back to a level where it will stay until 2032. Now, one of the things that really gets my attention is that they're saying that, you know, all the travel costs are so much more expensive. And one of the things they pointed out is that William's amount that was spent on one of his trips, I think it was Saudi Arabia trip, was like 130,000 pounds. Okay. Well, he's paid over 20 million in taxes. Like, I don't understand what people are complaining about. Fine, let him use his own money. As a matter of fact, you know, these people from the Not My King, the anti-monarchy campaign group Republic, I don't think they understand that if you remove them, you're going to lose billions. They bring in billions in revenue. I just don't understand sometimes a lot of the things that they're saying. Yes, you paid 130,000 for William's trip to Saudi Arabia, but he paid 20 million in taxes that legally he doesn't have to pay. So what the hell are you complaining about? I just don't understand these people. I mean, sometimes my brain just goes, psh. Now, in the middle of all this, you have people like this stupid woman, Julia Lawrence, who's saying that Catherine has made a mistake in the way she handled her cancer diagnosis, that basically she should let every single person know what kind of cancer she has and where it is. It's just a trashy article. And I'll tell you what, Miss Lawrence, open up your medical records. I, the general public, am going to comb through them. I'm going to look at every single little detail about your life and your medical history. You have a right to privacy. She has a right to privacy. That is deeply personal. I think you're a shit reporter. Go screw yourself. All right, let's move on to the will they, won't they circus. I'm really not going to cover this for another day or two because so much has come out. You guys know I need to look through it all. I really need to delve into it because I want to give you accurate information. So we have, they're not going to come. They are going to come. They accepted the invitation to stay at a royal residence. They didn't accept the invitation to stay at a royal residence. They're bringing the children. We're going to see the children. We're not going to see the children. They're going to be kept private. The security, they're bringing their own security. They're being given security. They're not being given security. There's so much bullcrap going around, and this is what happens whenever you have Harry and Meghan. You get the Harry Meghan pony show. That's what this is. Let me just tell you what I think this is. This is Harry and Meghan trying to make everybody forget what they've said and what they've done in the last 6 years. That's what's really going on here. It's like, oh, let's just forget about it. That was all a mistake, and I'm a changed person. We're changed people now, even though they're really not. I have said it before. I'm going to say it again. While Charles may see Harry as his darling boy, Charles will not go against the crown. Charles may keep lines of communication open, but it's not going to happen. Listen, Harry's not stupid. He knows that the second his father is gone and William takes over, he's finished. He knows it. He's in a panic. He's trying to get his foot back in the door before something happens to Pa. Because as soon as Pa is gone, Harry's gone. He will not, watch this space. He will not be at William's coronation. He will not ever stay on palace grounds or in a royal residence again. He will not be getting security. He won't get anything. Harry's not stupid. He won't get any money either. His brother's in charge of all of that. As soon as William becomes king, George is going to be in charge of that. And who will be in charge of that until George hits 21? William. Harry's not stupid. He realizes that he shot himself in the foot and he's trying hard to get back in, but he can't. Do I believe Harry has a plan to cozy up to the king? Yes, I do believe he has a plan. Absolutely. But all of his plans have failed. And let me tell you, one of the worst things that happened was Meghan Markle putting up calendars to Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Those candles sealed the deal for the royal family, because that just shows that every deal they made on the Sandringham agreement was broken. Piers Morgan, you remember him, the man that Meghan tried to get fired when he said he didn't believe what she said during the Oprah show. And then, of course, we found out later on that almost everything she said during the Oprah show was a lie, had something to say. I want you to listen to this.
How do you trust these two?
Yeah.
Right? And, they're going to bring the kids that they keep preaching to the world about privacy and how to protect kids online. Meantime, she's out there pumping week after week more and more pictures of their kids. So there's an absolute hypocrisy there, which I find, honestly, frankly, quite sickening. It's like, how dare you preach to us about privacy and protecting kids online, and then the next day go and put on Instagram pictures of your young kids to purely promote your brand as the rival renegade royal family. I just go back to, they stuck it to the royals at the royals' most vulnerable time. I mean, you and I have covered the royals for longer than we care to admit, but decades, right? But the idea they did this as Philip was dying, as the Queen was dying, and they were just trashing the royals week in, week out, trashing the monarchy as an institution, all of it. They were doing everything they could to destroy the whole thing. And now they want to waltz back into the country because he's got his Invictus Games, which is a perfectly valid, good event. I'm not going to denigrate the Invictus Games. The people that compete in it deserve all our admiration, and it's a good event. But the idea it becomes this big circus of the great return of these two.
To be, because there are
they've tried to trash the entire institution.
There are many members of the royal family who will not have that meeting. I think the king probably will meet them because I think he is magnanimous. I think he has
he might meet Harry. I very much doubt he'll meet Meghan. I'd be astonished.
He wants to see his grandchildren. I suspect it will be on Charles's terms. I think it will be very carefully coordinated by private secretaries.
I tell you who won't be seeing them, William.
No, William.
I think William would rather shoot. William would rather shoot.
I want to talk about that because we can all empathise with that point of view, of course. But for all the reasons you've just said, it's a circus. Anytime Harry comes to town.
As soon as they step foot in town, it's a circus.
It's always going to be if they don't find a way.
There's not going to be a way.
This out as
ultimately,
a family.
there can't be a way.
It's going to overshadow William's reign as much as it is Charles's reign if we don't sort this out. So when,
I don't think William wants anything to do with that. I think if William was to become king, I think the first thing he'd do is strip them of the titles. I mean, I felt they should lose their titles for years because I just think they want their royal cake and eat it. Remember, the Queen was very, very adamant. You can't be half in and half out of the royal family.
Royals Uncensored also had, I believe his name is, if I pronounce it correctly, Rob Jobson on. And what he said was so spot on. Again, these people say it better than I can, so I'm just going to let you listen to what he said. Listen to this.
Was the line that was crossed? What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
I mean, I don't know a specific story, but the whole of Spare was pretty damning and one-sided. I think that the interviews he gave to Tom Bradby when he was in South Africa really upset William. He felt that was a total betrayal. One of the most significant ones was when he said that both William and the King were trapped into the job they were going to do.
Yeah.
Which I think William said, well, don't speak for me. I've given you no authority to do
And
that.
I also thought it was really weird when then you've been doing all these quasi-royal tours where you would have been doing what you were doing if you were trapped in the royal family.
Then the other things that really upset him was the timing, the death of the Duke of Edinburgh and the Queen being quite ill at the same time.
Yeah.
COVID then came in, which meant we had that situation where there was a complete break anyway. But then, of course, the most damning stuff, which I think William will not forgive, is what was said about Catherine, which was totally unfair. Then we had, and put her under enormous pressure and stress, and then she had her dealing with cancer. And he was left pretty much to deal with a terrible situation, the prospect that his father had cancer and his wife had cancer. He had 3 young children, and he was completely crestfallen at that time.
Yeah.
And he had nobody then to support him, gave him no support whatsoever. Yes, Camilla did her bit for the king and the country, but this was a moment in his life when he felt completely and utterly alone to deal with 2 of the biggest crises. Because for all he knew, he could have been becoming king as a widow. He didn't know. And you can imagine that. Where was his brother whinging on about things that went on years ago? Lots of situations, almost being on the therapist's couch whilst his brother was dealing with real problems.
In an attempt to put her good foot first, it's being said that Meghan wants to look as good as possible, and she's spending a small fortune on hair, makeup, clothing. We all know everything she wears is going to end up on the one-off website anyway. So for those of you who haven't heard yet, these 2 that are so worried about their security have had their full itinerary put out. One of the first stops they're going to make is a stop at the Royal Hospital Chelsea because, you know, who doesn't wheel out veterans or elderly people for good PR? And they're going to meet the Chelsea pensioners, and they're also going to events in Birmingham at the National Exhibition Centre and the Children's Royal Hospital. That's right, they're wheeling out those sick kids again. Oh my God. Now, these are very carefully curated. One of them has been set up through Well Child, which is one of his charities that he still has. He's also going to be stopping to Scotty's Little Soldiers, one of the other little, events that he has. Let me just say that every event they're going to has been carefully chosen and carefully curated to try to avoid any booing or things being thrown or anything going on. And because of that, because you're not going to see the booing or hear the booing because it's just not what's going to happen, with that going on, what's going to happen is Harry and Meghan are going to say that their visit back was a success, that the UK accepted them, that this is all fabulous, and they're going to be spending more time. The truth is they've had to cobble this together with the few things they have left. And I just don't think it's going to go well. That's my personal opinion. I know that there's a lot of will they, won't they. I know that there's a lot of information coming out fast and furious. And you guys know I work 24 to 48 behind, and that's why? Because I want to make sure I give you all the correct information at the same time. And so I don't want to, bring you up just to bring it down and have you go, oh my God, oh my God. All right. So you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Go down in the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my father's book, which remains up for sale on Amazon, a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.